Hello, sir. Can you hear me, sir? Hello, Mr. Ebenezer. Hello, Grace. Can you hear me?
Good afternoon, sir.
Okay. Sorry, my network, my speaker seems to be giving me a little issue. I can't really hear. Please, can you take in this box if you can hear me?
I can hear you, but the voice is cracking.
All right.
Hello, Mr. Dennis. How are you?
Yes, I'm fine, sir. Good evening, sir. I'm trying to reach out to the mentees so that we can have more people joining for the class because we don't have. Okay. Uh, all right. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Can we all hear me? Okay. So, good evening, welcome to class. It's another wonderful time, right? Again, another evening, and we will be starting the session right about now. I want to thank all of us that have been able to make it to class at this time. We hope to have a very very interesting session today. So not to waste any time, not to waste your time. We'll be doing well to introduce the mentor for today, and we'll start as soon as possible. I'm still trying to reach out to our mentees so that we can have a full session. It seems we don't have quite a number of people on call yet. But our topic for today, what we'll be discussing for today, we still have one topic we have not yet treated, but I think we'll be looking on
We will
how.
treat the two topics today. We will treat the two topics
Oh, okay, sir.
so that
Okay.
we collapse the distance. So I will just be brief my own because I didn't prepare any slides so that we don't spill over again. So we take the two topics today.
All right, sir. All right, thank you, sir. So
Yeah.
Mr. Ebenezer will be helping us run through our two topics for today, both the topic on e-health and then on health contracts and transactions. So we'll be having a merge of two classes today. Please, I want to encourage those that have already joined in the call, please try and reach out to the other mentees, letting them know that we started the session already so that we can have us. I'm trying to do that on my end. So, well, please, you can also assist to reach out to your opponents so that we can have this. And, okay. So, Mr. Ebenezer, thank you so much sir, for joining. We are happy to have you once again in the session. I don't think there's any need to still read your profile. You've done that subsequently in class, and it's always nice having you in our sessions. Thank you so much, sir, for being here and for everything you do for us. Yes, sir. So, seeing that we are going to be having a merge of the two sessions, I don't know if we'll be having presentations. The two
Yes, let them do
presentations.
their presentations.
Okay. So, I will be taking presentations from. Okay, I think we should start with presentations from health contracts and transactions. So, group presenter.
Is it health contract or e-health?
Okay, let's start with
So,
e-health.
yes. So let's finish with e-health. Health contract is the one we have today, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, let's follow it serially. let's do e-health, then we'll do health contract. So we have to merge the two topics today so that from next week we continue our flow.
All right, thank you very much, sir. Okay, so for the e-health presentations, the group presenters for e-health, I think we have one of them in class, Karen, right? We're supposed to present on e-health in the last class. Please, can you go ahead and start the presentation class?
Okay. Good evening. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, no problem. Please, the slide.
I cannot hear the presenter. Has she started presenting?
No, sir, I've not started.
Okay, I'm pulling up your slides now, so please, you can just go ahead and introduce yourself.
I should go ahead without the slide.
Yeah, just that I'm going to bring up the slides now.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Gospel Karen Chizoron, and our topic for today, well, originally last week, is telemedicine and e-health adoption, security, and impact. That's what we have. So, of course, I will start with the introduction. First of all, what is telemedicine? Telemedicine is the remote diagnosis and treatment of patients using telecommunication technology. Now, what is e-health? E-health is the use of information communication technology in healthcare, including telemedicine, mobile health, EHR, and health information systems. That is just to say that telemedicine is like a branch of e-health. Now, what is the importance of these digital health solutions? How does it benefit us? What do we need it for? It is essential because it helps us to expand healthcare access. It reduces cost.
Hello. You are
Hello?
rushing. You are explaining your work to people. So you are more like wrapping it.
Okay.
So can you slow down a little? But talk. Let's hear you.
Okay, so let me start again. So, introduction, we have the definition of telemedicine. What is telemedicine? Telemedicine is like the remote diagnosis and treatment of patients using telecommunication technology. We can just say it is basically treating someone when they are not there in person. Definition of e-health. E-health is the use of ICT in healthcare, including telemedicine, mobile health, EHR, and health information systems. So the telemedicine that we're talking about is like a branch of e-health. That's the first slide. Next one, please. So now we talk about the importance of digital health solutions. Why is telemedicine actually important to us? It is important because it helps in expanding healthcare access. It reduces costs. It enhances patient outcome, and it supports healthcare professionals with real-time data. What does this basically mean? In the aspect of reducing costs, we're talking about basically covering distance, the cost that it takes to go to and fro to the hospital and back. Telemedicine makes it easier because the patient can literally be seen from their homes. It enhances patient outcomes because the patients can be part of their progress because they know what is going on. And then it supports healthcare professionals with real-time data. The real-time data meaning that as the patients are going through anything, any process, any progress that they make in their health, given that we'll still discuss about that later on, the patients know about it firsthand And because it is telemedicine, the doctors are getting the update immediately as it is happening. So that is what we mean by supporting healthcare professionals with real-time data. Next one, please. So we are going to be discussing this topic under 4 key themes. We have the adoption and usage patterns of telemedicine. We have data security and privacy concerns in e-health. We have the impact of wearable health technologies, and we have the effectiveness of e-health interventions. So the first one is the next thing we are going to discuss. Next one. So telemedicine adoption and usage patterns. So what is telemedicine adoption? This is the process by which healthcare providers and patients integrate telemedicine into their routine practice. That is basically how healthcare providers and patients learn to use this telemedicine in their day-to-day life. Next one. So we talk about the growth trends in telemedicine. So we have here that the rise of telehealth usage due to COVID-19. What are we saying here? We are just saying that telemedicine, while it has always been in existence, it became really popular during the COVID-19, given the fact that everyone was in lockdown. There were really no places that were open. So telemedicine became really popular here due to the fact that a lot of people had to start practicing it. So this led to increased investments in telemedicine infrastructure, and it is also going to lead us to the regional variations, which will affect its adoption in our real-time society. So under the variations here, we have demographic variations. Demographic variations, we say one of them includes higher adoption in urban areas due to better internet connectivity. Usually what we see when we go home to our villages during December, there is really no network in some rural areas. So it is going to be hard for telemedicine to function there properly because network is very important. We have older adults adopting telemedicine at a slower rate. It is easier for the younger ones who are more tech inclined to get into this very fast as compared to the older ones. We have socio-economic factors influencing access, things like education, things like money, things like privileged information, and other things can also affect how this telemedicine functions. Next one. So we have barriers to telemedicine adoption. First one, technological barriers. We can have limited internet access in rural areas. We have lack of digital literacy among older adults. We have regulatory and legal barriers, that is inconsistent telemedicine regulations across regions. In some areas, there can be some limitations to telemedicine due to some rules and laws there. We also have concerns over liability and malpractice in virtual consultations. When we formally discuss e-health fraud, something like that can come up, given the fact that you are not actually seeing the patient in real time. So things like impersonification can happen. These are some of the barriers that we have.
Pronounce that word again. Things like
impersonification, like someone can imitate someone else and collect and like use the healthcare. Some in terms of things like insurance now, for example, they can pose as another person.
impersonation. Get the word right. Impersonation, not impersonification. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, who's presenting God's will?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Proceed.
Please, the next one. So we have financial barriers, high cost of telemedicine infrastructure for hospitals. Telemedicine does not come cheap. Then we have limited insurance coverage for telehealth services. Please, the next one. So now we talk about data security and privacy in e-health. So importance of data security in healthcare. It is important because it helps in protecting sensitive patient information, helps in preventing unauthorized access and data breaches. As we already know the last time, keeping the patient's information confidential is part of the key things in medicine. So it is very essential that we keep this private. And so due to this, we can face common security threats, and some of the threats include ransomware attacks on hospital systems. We also have things like phishing and social engineering threats. Next one. So strategies here to help us combat this and enhance e-health security include implementation of strong encryption protocols. We can also have things like regular cybersecurity training for the healthcare staff so they can know how to properly keep this information. Next one. So now we have the impact of wearable health technologies. So there are examples of these wearable devices. We have smartwatches that can monitor your ECG reading. We also have continuous glucose monitors for diabetic patients. What are the benefits of these wearable health technologies? It helps to encourage physical activity and lifestyle changes. Another thing is it can help to monitor remotely chronic conditions of patients. This is also what we mean by what I said earlier by enhancing patient outcomes. The patient now is in an active role in their health because they are the ones wearing this. And so they actually understand what is going on. They are actively involved, unlike in the hospital scenario where they just go to the doctor and get the treatment. In this case now, it's like a step-by-step process with them playing vital roles. The next one, please. What are the challenges in wearable health technology? We have data privacy concerns with continuous tracking. Some of these things, they have to do with your location, and some people may not be comfortable with it. Then there is also the variability in device accuracy and reliability. How reliable can this technology actually be, given that sometimes they come in with fixed data and they have some things that they are very specific to read. So these are some of the challenges that comes with these wearable health technologies. Next one. So e-health intervention efficacy. What are the different types of e-health interventions? We have mobile health apps for disease management. If you check on our Play Store, we can see some of them. We have online mental health counseling platforms whereby you can go discuss your problems and just get help anonymously online. We have success stories, people that have managed to do it, they testify, and it helps to keep others going. We have diabetes self-management apps, thus reducing hospital visits, indirectly reducing cost. We also have digital cognitive behavioral therapy for depression. Next one. So challenges and future directions. Yes. Firstly, we have addressing digital divide in e-health accessibility. Digital divide is just that space between those that are really, really online, to put it simply, and those that are not online at all. So for us to actually take telemedicine to the next level, we need to first of all address digital divide to get everybody on the same piece. And then we also have integrating AI and big data for personalized treatment. When we talk about personalized treatment, we mean finding out a way to make this very specific. So it does not just give us a general reading or a general data, but we have to make it, we have to do it in a way that it's going to give us individual, like individual difference, like individual, it has to be specifically individual. So we don't get like general readings and data and everything like that. Next one, please. Because telemedicine adoption in Nigeria, current adoption rates. Presently, telemedicine adoption rate in Nigeria is low, but it is growing consistently. It increased during the COVID-19 due to remote consultations, as I said earlier. There are challenges involved in this adoption. The first one is, of course, poor internet infrastructure in rural areas. This remains, from my perspective, one of the most difficult things to combat. And the second thing is high cost of digital devices and limited digital literacy. Please, next one. Sorry, government and private initiatives. So we have expansion of telehealth services by health tech startups like 54G and Helium Health. So these are companies that deal in things like this, and they are trying to establish and make it bigger in Nigeria personally. Then we have government policies which help and enhance digital health integration. Next one. So now, what are the e-health security concerns in Nigeria? The first one, of course, is key data security challenges. There is weak enforcement of cybersecurity laws. There is an increased rate of ransomware attacks on hospital records. We have regulatory landscape. We have data protection regulatory act, and then we have the health data privacy bill under review. These are steps that the government is trying to take to combat the security challenges that we face in telemedicine. Please, the next one. So now, what are the recommendations? First of all, the most important thing is to strengthen cybersecurity policies in hospital, and of course, implementing robust electronic health record security frameworks.
Sorry, take that again. The second one.
Implementing robust electronic health record security frameworks. Okay. This next one. So now, wearable health technologies in Nigeria. What is the current adoption trend of that? There is slow adoption due to high cost. As we said earlier, these wearable health technologies, a lot of them do not come cheap. So the adoption rate is really slow due to the fact that they are expensive. There is the growing market for fitness trackers among urban populations. These type of things are becoming very rampant and very popular among the urbanized areas, rather. What are the challenges in wearable tech usage? Initially, there is the lack of local manufacturing, there is lack of local manufacturing, thereby forcing us to rely on imported devices. A lot of these wearable health technologies, they are not invented in Nigeria. So it brings us in, we have to actually import it from outside the country. This is the reason why they are actually on the high side. Then there is the data security concerns over wearable device integration in health systems. A lot of these devices now, we have to give them various permissions. So a lot of people are always bothered. Is my data safe? Is my information being kept properly? These are some of the risks that is involved in wearable health technologies in the country. Next one, please. So please, I can't see the screen anymore. Can anybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Should I continue without the screen?
Yes, I think the network has logged the Dennis out. Okay, he's back. He is back.
Let me just hold on so he can.
Just wait a little.
Sorry, let me put it back on.
It seems we are having a new student in the class today. Who is Cora?
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Is today your first time in the class?
Yes, today is my first time in class.
Okay. So we have a tradition here. You have to turn on your phone and introduce yourself. Or while you are doing that, Dennis, are you done so that she can complete her session before Cora introduces herself?
Yes, she's back.
Okay, good. After her session, Cora, you introduce yourself.
Okay, sir.
Please, the next one. Opportunities for growth. To enhance this, we have expansion of mobile health initiatives in Nigeria. We have to try to start producing our own wearable health technologies, home-based. Second one is integration with Nigeria's National Health Insurance Scheme, NHIS. Next one, please. E-health interventions in Nigeria. What are the steps we can take to improve e-health here? We have government-led e-health programs. We have the National e-health strategy. We have deployment of mobile health apps, especially for maternal health tracking. It is not limited to that, but at least this is the main one. We have private sector innovations. We also have telemedicine platforms like Kankpi and CribMD, providing accessibility to people online. We equally have AI-driven diagnosis training, AI-driven diagnosis gaining traction in major hospitals. Hospitals are starting to use AI in their day-to-day activities. It is becoming more popular. Telemedicine platforms, of course, give access to people to give people the opportunity to access healthcare online. Private sectors can equally give us their innovations. So finally, in conclusion, last one, what are the challenges in this implementation? Unequal access to digital healthcare in rural areas, as I've already said. Then, of course, there is limited funding for e-health infrastructure. But if we tackle all this, e-health should be closer to us than we think. Last one, please. The last one is references. That's the
Okay,
last thing in the last. Okay, so thank you.
that's a very good one. That's a
Thank
very
you.
solid one. Well researched. I'll just make a few inputs at the right time. Dennis, do we have group 2 ready for their presentation on this? While you are putting up their slides, let's have Cora into us. So Cora, you turn on your video, you tell us your name, what you do for a living, why you decided to join this training. You have the floor, Cora. You're muted. Unmute yourself, unmute your mic. Okay, great. So you may proceed.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Onya Kamsochko. I'm a scholar, a medical student of Gregory University.
Okay.
I joined the JIIPCC Health, Law, and Tech community so I will be able to learn more about my course of study, to understand a bit better about technological advances that are involved in my current course of study, and to also help me to move forward, at least with a better mindset of how things will progress in the future within health and medical sciences.
Okay, awesome. What level are you?
I'm currently in my 400 level.
Okay, great. You are joining us late. Today is our 4th week. We
Yeah,
have 2 more weeks to go.
I actually joined the group about 2 weeks ago, but
And you refuse to attend the lectures.
that's the thing. The first time I wanted to join the lectures, I had issues with my Zoom and with my network. The next time that we had lectures, which was on Sunday, I traveled that day. So I could not access my laptop. I had no good internet access. A lot of things have held me for the last 2 classes.
Okay, there is no problem. You are welcome to the class. This
Thank you.
is JIPCC. What we do here is to promote learning. Promote learning. You are a medical student. For the law students, there are still other training opportunities in not just medical law. There is fintech law. There is data protection and data privacy and protection. There is intellectual property and all that other areas of law. So JIPCC basically provides undergraduates, not just undergraduates, because we have had many lawyers pass through this training. We have also had medical doctors pass through this training. That's practicing professionals pass through this training. So why I'm saying this is particularly for those who are lawyers, after this course, you still have opportunity to come back to JIPCC to do a different course, So it's not a one-off thing that after now it's okay, I'm done and goodbye. So we are pleased to have you. So why is your name Cora? Is that an acronym?
Yeah, yes, is the combination of the first letters of all my names.
Okay, awesome. You're welcome. Okay,
Thank you,
so
sir.
can we have group 2? Group 2, are you ready? Who is presenting for group 2? Dennis, who is presenting for group 2?
Okay, sorry. We're supposed to have Chiamaka present for group 2. Please, Chiamaka, please, can you help present on behalf of your group for the topic? The slides are being shared.
Okay. Good evening, sir. My name is Obibola Chiamaka.
Yes, good evening, Chiamaka.
I was the group leader for this week. I'm not the one supposed to do it, but I'll just have to go with it now.
There is no
Even
problem.
though
You are in group 2, right?
Yes,
I
sir.
told you people last week that I will be appointing who will present. Now that Dennis has appointed you, you have to present. So anybody can present. We are no longer saying this must be the person. In your group, within your group, you can agree on who is to present. But when you come here, if I appoint the person to present, fine and good. If I appoint any other person to present, fine and good. The essence is this. We want to have all the group members familiarize themselves with your material. It's not just a few people do the work, then a few other persons present. Then at the end of the day, some people do not participate at all, except coming to just listen. We want everybody to have opportunity to present at least once before the end of the training. Have you presented before, Chiamaka? Have you presented before today?
Okay, on the day that I was supposed to present, I took excuse because I had exams that day.
Have you done any presentation at all since the training started?
No, none yet.
Okay. Today is your turn. It's your turn to shine.
Nope.
So proceed.
Okay, today we're talking about e-health and legal issues in emerging healthcare tech. Next slide, please. Okay, we'll start with regulatory framework of AI. We are given subtopics to talk on them. So AI is one of the emerging e-health techs. AI in healthcare includes tools for diagnosis, treatment planning, robotic surgeries, and patient monitoring. Nowadays, most of the work in hospitals are being facilitated with modern technologies like AI, helping with taking diagnosis, with treatment planning, and every other thing, even taking surgeries too, which helps to reduce workload on the medical practitioners too. The regulations are still developing as AI advances faster than legal frameworks. No unified global regulations. Different countries apply different standards and creating gaps and confusions, which means some countries have more advancement in AI, while some are yet to catch up with them. So that makes like the regulatory framework different in some geographical areas. Next slide, please. Okay, key regulatory issues in AI, liability. Who is at fault if an AI system makes a wrong decision? Developer, provider, or the hospital? So this is where most of the regulatory issues lies. Then accountability. Need to clarify rules of all parties involved in deploying and using AI tools. Then patient safety. Ensuring AI is accurate, bias-free, and doesn't put patients at risk. These are the regulatory issues in AI. in applying AI in healthcare. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Oversight bodies. The FDA in the US approves medical AI devices and software. The EMA in Europe regulates AI under medical device regulations. Then local health agencies like NAFDAC in Nigeria may need to develop AI-specific policies so that this can guide the use of AI to avoid wrong diagnosis and every other thing that is associated with the use of AI in health tech. Next slide. Challenges in regulation. The AI system often acts as black boxes. Decisions aren't easily explained. Then data privacy, bias, and fairness are major concerns because most of the time the data are like imputed in the AI like protected because of public use and all that. Then difficult to test and validate AI systems like traditional medical devices. Yeah, because most of the time AI does all the work and people might be too nonchalant. The healthcare professionals might be too nonchalant to pay attention to the provided information, like in traditional medical devices where every informations are being well checked before giving out. Next slide, please. What's needed? Clear ethical guidelines and laws specific to AI in healthcare are needed to make sure that that no ethical rules are broken. Then regular monitoring and audits of AI tools after approval. Yeah, this helps to make sure that there are no oversights because AI can make mistakes too. Then collaboration between governments, tech companies, and medical professionals. Yeah, this can help to make sure that correct information are being inputted into the AI and correct information are being given out. Because in computer, most times it's garbage in, garbage out. What you're giving is what you get out. Then patient education and consent for use of AI in their care. Yeah, most of the time, patients might not be comfortable with the use of AI because they might not trust the AI or the technology very well because of glitches and network problems. So yeah, next slide, please. This is this subtopic under and a different topic we have under this topic then. Ethical implications of genetic testing. Genetic testing involves analyzing the DNA to detect mutations, inherited conditions, or risk of developing certain diseases. Yeah. Then it is used in areas like disease diagnosis, ancestry, prenatal. No, I'm not done with the slide, please. Yeah, it is used in areas like disease diagnosis, ancestry, prenatal screening, and personalized medicines. Yeah, it raises ethical concerns due to the personal, predictive, and sensitive nature of genetic data. Yeah, genetic data is a very, very sensitive information because most of the time it's been like it's something that it's unique to each individual. Each individual's DNA is unique to them because they are they are a very, very sensitive information because any mistake in them, one mistake can cause a lot of problems. So this is why it's a very, very important. It's very important to understand this. Next slide, please.
Hello, we have lost you, presenter.
Away.
Chiamaka, are you with us?
Are you hearing me?
I think she's having a network challenge. Her microphone is beeping, but we can't hear her. Hello, Chiamaka, can you hear? Okay.
Oh, sorry about that. Okay, I'm talking of ethical implications of genetic testing. Genetic testing involves analyzing DNA to detect mutations, inherited conditions, or risk of developing certain diseases. Yeah, because most of the human being is made up of DNA, and the DNA is responsible for everything, even physical and internal in the human body. The DNA is a very deciding factor in the body that detects mutations, inherited conditions from parents, or the risk of developing certain diseases, which are the recessive genes in the body. The, it is used like disease diagnosis, ancestry, prenatal screening, and personalized medicine. Then it raises ethical concerns due to the personal sensitive something because any mistake in it can lead to a lot of various medical mistakes too. Next slide, please. Key ethical issues in genetic testing. Informed consent. Patients must understand risks, limitations, and potential outcomes before testing. Then, privacy and confidentiality. Risk of genetic data misused by employers, insurers, or third parties. Then, genetic discrimination. Fear of being treated unfairly based on genetic predispositions. Then, treat testing in minors. Ethical dilemma of testing children. Next slide, please. Then reproductive choices. Use of testing and prenatal diagnosis can lead to complex moral decisions. Yeah. Responsible use of genetic data. Genetic counseling. It's critical to help individuals understand results and make informed choices. Yeah. After getting the information from the genetic data, it's important to counsel the patients on the result gotten and the decisions to make. Then data protection laws, regulations like GDPR in Europe and JIIPCC in US aim to prevent misuse of genetic data. The equity and access, concerns over unequal access to testing and related care. Next slide, please. Then we move into the next topic under regulatory, under our topic, telehealth regulation and licensing in Nigeria, challenges and considerations. Telehealth is rapidly expanding in Nigeria, offering a solution to country's healthcare accessibility issues, particularly in rural.
Chiamaka, your volume is not so good. Please, maybe can you kindly try to change location so that maybe your network will become better.
Particularly in rural and
Sorry, please, participants, can you hear her? For me, the line is breaking so much that I can't make out what she's saying. Can anybody hear her clearly?
Sorry, sir, we can't really hear her. Chiamaka, can you hear us?
Hello, Chiamaka, can you hear?
Okay, I think she's no longer with us. Okay, she's still here. Chiamaka, I think she's having some network issue. She has been logged out.
Oh, okay, maybe she logged out to come in again. Let's just give her a few minutes. If she's not back, we make progress. Who is using HP? Could you please turn it to your name? The person using HP. Could you please change it to your real name?
So
Okay,
Chiamaka,
Chamaka is not back.
it's not back. I
We
think
will proceed. Yes. Okay.
I think it's having sevenness.
Today's topic is very interesting and one that somehow I wouldn't say familiar with, but we are also not unfamiliar with it. Let me put it that way. So somehow we have been, in a way, interfacing medical practice with technology, even in our own little ways or various ways. How do we do that? One, even the time you do just your research to know, okay, this is the symptom I'm having, what could be the cause of this? You are already surfing the net to find out the symptoms or the symptoms, what could be the underlying ailment leading to these symptoms. And when you get the symptoms or when you get the ailment, you can go further to ask what medications can cure this. And the list of medications at your own personal level, even though it is highly discouraged, because that is more like self-medication and it is highly discouraged. Now, at that level, people are already using technology to enhance their medical well-being. However, telemedicine, basically, as we have all seen, it is the use of technology to meet the medical demands of the day. Now, by way of definition, we can say e-health is the use of digital technologies to enhance the delivery of healthcare services. This includes everything from telemedicine, mobile health apps. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we
To
can hear you, sir.
mobile health apps, to wearable medical devices, to electronic health records, to AI assisted diagnosis and all that. But we must note something, that where the world has gotten to now in technological advancement, e-health is changing how doctors interact with patients now, and how medical data is firstly secured or shared or even obtained, and how healthcare is delivered. So you discover that technology, the advent of technology, has gained so much inroad in every sphere of human endeavor, and the medical or healthcare service delivery is not an exception. If you look at orthodox medical practice, the rule normally is that before you prescribe, you must examine. Before you treat, you must examine. Now, telemedicine is beginning to erase that principle or push it further away from possibility. Now, examination used to be physical, whereby okay, good, you have muted yourself. Examination used to be physical, whereby the doctor is seeing the patient. The doctor is seeing the patient. Now, as the doctor is seeing the patient, The doctor can ask questions. The doctor, by examination, can now know, putting 2, 3, 4 symptoms together, what ailment to suspect. That examination, or the doctor can find what he's looking for just through skin discoloration. The doctor has many symptoms he's looking out for. If he looks at the patient's skin, from the color of the skin, the doctor can suspect it could be this or that. From the color of the patient's eye, from rashes in certain parts of the body, from different spots or growths in certain parts of the body, the doctor can come to a conclusion or be given an idea to say, okay, this could be what the problem is. But with telemedicine now, that close range physical examination has been obliterated. And that poses its own danger. There are sometimes the doctor will need to poke the patient's skin, okay, touch, press the skin harder in a particular area, maybe the tummy, and ask, are you feeling pains here? If the person says yes, he can move his hand either up or down. Are you feeling pains here? Are you feeling pains? Are you feeling pains? To determine a range. Now, this physical examination can no longer happen under telemedicine. So that is already one challenge. And what challenge is that to us? It could lead to not necessarily misdiagnosis, but giving the wrong prescription in terms of dosage, one. And in some cases, misdiagnosis. That is where the doctor, the person treating, relies solely on what the patient is saying. So the standard practice is, as soon as you're done engaging with your patient via technology, either Zoom or WhatsApp or through the internet, next thing is to recommend tests so that you avoid issues of liability, because you have already, remember what we said last week, that if you have started treating, you treat according to the skill and expertise expected of a medical personnel of your standing. So the issue of, I was just watching on television, I spoke to the patient through the internet. It will not avail you. There was this news about maybe 2 months ago, early January or mid-February, of a patient that died somewhere in the southeast. Did anybody hear that story? The doctors were using YouTube video to carry out operation. Did anybody hear that story? Hello?
I didn't for my answer. I did not hear the story, sir.
You said?
I said I did not hear the story, sir.
Okay. Now, as medical law students, you have to put your ear down on what is happening in the industry. So it's not just you have to follow news, particularly what is happening, because you are now interested in this area of practice. Now, what are the legal issues in e-health? One, issue of privacy and confidentiality of patients' data. Now, e-health is deeply personal, and the system collects data as you're talking, but there is a challenge. You know that the internet is just like the way we have the universe, or let me say the earth. It is a vast space. And there are different agents in operation on the internet. So it is possible that a patient's data can be intercepted. Now, the Medical and Dental Council, in the Code of Medical Ethics, a lot of you have been saying there is no regulation, there is no regulation. Yes, at the national level or specifically for telemedicine, for now, we do not have a national framework yet. However, understand that medical practice is regulated in Nigeria by the Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria. So everything that concerns medical practice is regulated by them. That includes telemedicine, that includes tradomedicine. They are all regulated by the Medical and Dental Council. So let's look at section 22 of the Code of Medical Ethics, talking about telemedicine. It says, telemedicine, now don't forget that, you have the impression that telemedicine just started during COVID, or it has been around but got popularized during COVID. To an extent, yes, but bear in mind that the Code of Medical Ethics was made in 2008. And as at 2008, telemedicine was already captured in the Code of Medical Ethics. Section 22 says, telemedicine, a professional opportunity outcome of modern advances in computer and telecommunications technology, is steadily creeping into professional practice in Nigeria. This was as at 2008. It is medicine requested and practiced at a distance, and it is particularly useful for patient care and management by general practitioners and specialists in assessing telesupport in their daily practices on the basis of requirements for specialist consultation in various specialties of medicine and dentistry. It is of ethical significance for registered practitioners to continually assess and avoid medico-legal pitfalls in areas such as confidentiality, professional competence, legal and registration status of the specialist being consulted, equipment reliability, sustainable continuity of patients management, and the timely referral of patients. Electronic processing. Practitioners must make appropriate arrangements for the security of personal information when it is stored, sent, or retrieved by fax, computer, email, or other electronic means. Information must be kept secured before connecting to a network. You should ensure that data sent cannot be intercepted or seen by anyone other than the intended recipient. Practitioners should, however, be aware that information sent by email through the internet may be intercepted. Now, this is the warning of the Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria, as stipulated in the Code of Medical Ethics. So you see that telemedicine, while it has its many advantages, it requires high level of precaution when it comes to data privacy and patient confidentiality. So you now see that our Data Protection Act 2023 becomes very relevant. So as a telemedicine practitioner, you need to have your data officer, your data processing officer. You need to know how to store your data. You need to know how to protect it from being intercepted, from being accessed by unauthorized persons. So one of the challenges, data. Then legal concerns. The rise of digital health platform increases the risk of data breaches and unauthorized access. So it is more like repeating the same thing. However, we also need to look at qualification of the healthcare professional. So we think it was in our first or second lecture where we talked about the possibility of quacks. I think it was when we're discussing our first lecture. Now, for us, or rather, for the layman, a quack is somebody who is not trained at all to practice medicine. Maybe somebody just woke up one morning, or somebody who is not certified, let me put it that way, to practice medicine. Maybe someone has gone through medical school and didn't qualify in their qualification exam and goes to one remote village. The person has knowledge and now starts practicing medicine. On one hand, that is a quack. But on the other hand, too, even if you are certified and you are not paying your regular annual practicing fee, one, two, you are not taking your regular professional development courses to move from one grade of practice to another, you are also a quack. Assuming somebody is a gynecologist and the person is treating cardiology cases, or the person is treating maybe kidney cases, at that instant, the person is a quack. So there is the higher tendency of quackery in telemedicine. Why? Because the person just sits over the phone and gives himself out as a doctor. There are even companies now that what they can just set up and engage people. Okay, create a platform, create an app, get doctors. You are not a doctor, but you have created the app, so you have a platform. Now get healthcare professionals, doctors to subscribe to your platform, nurses, and you build a team. And now advertise your app such that people who now want to access care can do that online. But the challenge is mode of verifying these people, that they are truly what they say they are. Now, understand my explanation of a quack. It is not that the person at the material time does not have medical knowledge. It is not that the person does not have even the qualification to practice medicine. It is just that the person might be providing consultation in area that it does not, area of medicine that it does not have real expertise. So do you understand it? Now, that's another challenge in telemedicine, issue of quackery, that people who are not too qualified, there have been cases that there was one time a guy was arrested, I think it was in Ogun State or where, the guy was just assisting a doctor. In fact, he started working in the hospital. I think he was there as a cleaner, clean the theater before they started sending him, okay, get us this, get us this, get us this. Before you know, he started watching how they are. The guy only has secondary school certificates. Before you know it, he started, now he left, went and opened and started parading himself as a doctor. Such a person has little knowledge, though not certified. If the person comes and begins to talk on air and say he's a doctor or practicing telemedicine, one, you will find it difficult to even trace him. Except, of course, where he's running adverts. But some of these people, they don't run adverts. Some of them thrive through referral because they are also hiding their quackery. Issue of data security, cyber security and data breach, we have talked about that. Liability and medical malpractice. Here you have a pool of doctors making contribution. You know, last week we talked about medical negligence, and I did mention issue of vicarious liability. And I said that a healthcare professional can be vicariously liable where he is an employee. I said the hospital, a medical establishment or facility can be vicariously liable for the act of their doctor or nurse. And I differentiated and say where the doctor or nurse is an employee of the hospital, then the hospital becomes vicariously liable. But where the doctor or nurse is an independent contractor, that we soon do healthcare contracts. Where the doctor or nurse is an independent contractor, just working for the hospital, but they have their own internal arrangements that he's a contractor. When they have cases that requires him, he just comes, does that, and goes out. The doctor will be personally liable. Now, issue of liability. You know, telemedicine also, e-health also involves AI. If you are into research and you use some of these research tools, you will discover that sometimes they make mistakes. There was a celebrated case in US where a lawyer used the ChatGPT, GPT to write to write his final written address and submitted in court. ChatGPT generated cases because when you are writing your final written address, you supply judicial authorities. The tool generated cases that never existed and supplied and just fabricated cases and supplied to courts. And you know, US is not Nigeria. As the judges were reading the cases, reading, they got to this one. They don't know about this case. They made all their searches. They could not get this case. And they had to get the lawyer to come and provide more about it. He supplied them this authority. They need to read the facts of the case. That was when it was discovered that the guy used ChatGPT to do his written address, and it is AI that supplied. So they can make mistake. When such mistake happens, how do you hold the AI liable? Then regulatory compliance is an issue. Technologies, we know, when I take this class, I like to be factual. We know how our system is in terms of quality assurance. So even in bringing in the needed technological infrastructure for e-health to be functional, e-health is not just telemedicine. If you are bringing in the required technological infrastructure, what about standardization? Yes, we have the Standard Organization of Nigeria, we have NAFDAC, we have other regulatory agencies. But our own internal compromise, the regulatory agencies are there, but our own internal compromise becomes a challenge. Then issue of compliance to standardization. That is where our internal compromise, not that there are no regulatory agencies, there are, but the issue of corruption, once the system is compromised and you allow substandard equipment to come in, what is the compliance rate? Where the compliance officer is the one making room for substandard equipment to find their way into the country. So it is an issue. Ethical dilemmas in e-health. We look at equality and accessibility. We talked about principle of justice, if you remember our first case. Now, the rural dwellers, a lot of them do not have smartphone to start with. Two, there are some places you do not have internet facility. So you see that there is relative imbalance or inequity when it comes to e-health accessibility. The urban dwellers have more opportunities, they have more money, they have more internet infrastructures around them that can make them easily access healthcare through e-health. So there is relative inequality when it comes to accessibility. Then issue of consent in digital era. Normally, when you fill a consent form, the procedure is that the doctor, particularly if it is for surgery, the doctor is supposed to tell you what is going to be done to your body. He's actually supposed to draw a diagram, maybe not as an artist, just make a diagram, a pictorial representation of the part of the body they want to operate on, then use his pen or pencil to show you the incision mark and say, we're going to do this. We will open here, then we will remove this cloth, then we will suture it back, then we will do this. Before we do that, we need to anesthetize this place. He will explain that. After the explanation, then they ask if you understood. Then they give you the consent form. You read and sign. But how do we now obtain informed consent for telemedicine? That becomes a challenge. Now, illiteracy of our aged parents in the village becomes another challenge, not just the aged ones. Even there are a lot of young people who are illiterate. Yes. So that becomes a challenge. Obtaining consent for e-health services becomes a serious challenge. Now, we talked about autonomy in our first lecture too, patient's autonomy. So autonomy and artificial intelligence, where AI begins to make decisions for patients. Who do you hold responsible? We say the patient has a right to determine what shall be done to his body. Where you touch, how you touch, when you touch. Now, where there is a child, where an AI begins to make decisions, even though there have been counter arguments that AI is faster, it has a faster precision. What we take the normal human being how many minutes to process, the AI will process in a few seconds. So, but the issue of consent, when you are giving your consent, are you giving the consent to a robot or to a human being? Are you giving the consent to AI or a human being? When you talk of autonomy, are you saying, okay, doctor, only you can make decisions for me, not your artificial intelligence? Does the doctor even disclose to the patient that he is making use of artificial intelligence to arrive at his decisions? So these are some of the challenges. We already know what happened during COVID-19 and how telemedicine was of big, immense assistance globally, not just in Nigeria. Then the issue of licensing and jurisdiction. Telemedicine, once it is internet, it is global. It's like our law practice. We have jurisdictions. I watched an interview of Senator Ned Nwoko the other day. He was saying he's not a Nigerian lawyer, but he's a legal practitioner. But he didn't go to law school in Nigeria. He said he's not a Nigerian lawyer. He does not want to be a Nigerian lawyer. He doesn't want to practice law in Nigeria. He practices law in the UK. So when he goes to UK, he can practice law. When he comes to Nigeria, he cannot go to court here. He cannot wear wig and gown here. He cannot put himself out as a lawyer here. The same thing is applicable to medical practice. Even as a foreigner, if you are coming into practice here, you need to have a license to practice here. Now, with telemedicine, is there jurisdiction? Is there borderline? Okay, your phone call, your treatment can only be for people within Nigeria. Now, it is a serious challenge because consultations are going on globally. People in Nigeria are calling India. People in India are calling Nigeria. People in UK are consulting for facility treatment in Nigeria. So these are few challenges, cross-border medical practice. Then what can we do now to regulate e-health generally? One is building technological infrastructure to make it possible that anybody in anywhere in Nigeria can access e-health, not necessarily telemedicine, e-health generally. Two, I think it was group 2 that, group 1, that talked about non-local production, encouraging scientific innovation here. Now, issue of patents and intellectual property law also comes to play. When you do your technological innovation, they are supposed to be patented because they are your intellectual property. They are supposed to be protected such that nobody comes to mass produce and even water down the quality without your knowledge. So our intellectual property law comes to play when we talk regulation also. Then another challenge is issue of monitoring. So there is need to have a central database of licensed companies, so to speak. I am using company because e-health, you don't have a physical structure. The operators might have a physical structure where they operate from, but the recipient, the patient, does not walk into that physical structure. So there will be need to have a database of all registered telemedical agencies or telemedical companies or telemedical health facilities that are operational in Nigeria. So from time to time, do routine check in updating their database. Anybody who wants to operate, then there is need for aggressive sensitization of Nigerians, because it is where there is no proper information that quackery and malpractices thrive. For example, if the National Orientation Agency begins to say, okay, we now have registered telemedicine healthcare facilities, these are their phone numbers, these are not necessarily, these are their phone numbers. Before you contact anyone, before you engage anyone, Google, check this email address, check this website. Maybe the Ministry of Health or the Medical and Dental Council, check this website. You will see a list of doctors we have certified, because Medical and Dental Council only regulates doctors. These are the list of doctors we have cleared to practice e-health or e-medicine for the Ministry of Health or any other regulatory agency. These are the list of healthcare facilities we have approved. So before you engage, check here. For us lawyers, you can check the name of any lawyer in Nigeria within 3 minutes. It is just to go to the internet, go to the MBA website, go to find a lawyer, type the name of the lawyer. Once you type his name will appear. The year he was called to bar will appear. His Supreme Court number to practice as a lawyer will appear. Now, that is one of the steps MBA has taken to checkmate quackery. So the same thing should be replicated by the Medical and Dental Council and the NMA, Nigeria Medical Association, to also checkmate quackery, particularly as it relates to telemedicine. So that is that for e-health. Any question on that before we quickly move to healthcare contracts? Any question? Any question? Any question? Questions, please.
So please, if you have any questions, please try and ask, right, so that we can have Mr. Ebenezer help us answer questions, especially in cases where we have knowledge gaps as regards what was presented and also what he discussed about. It was a very, very interesting discourse from Mr. Ebenezer. So please, if you have any questions, you can indicate and we'll take questions.
Questions?
Okay. We would assume that nobody has any question.
So let's move straight to healthcare contracts. Group 1, do you have your presentation ready? Let's have you.
Do we have presentation from Group 1? Okay, Group 1 did not make submission for their presentation.
That's what I wanted to tell you now, that I did not receive any submission from Group 1. Why? It is always Group 1 that is dragging us back. Why? Group 1, why?
Sir, I sent the presentation this afternoon.
To Williams? Or to
No,
the
I used
platform?
the link in the group.
You posted it on the group?
Yes, sir.
You are supposed
Sorry,
to
I was not notified about that.
You are supposed to submit to your coordinator.
I was not
Okay,
notified
let's have
about
it.
it.
Let's have your presentation. Group 1, let's have your presentation.
Hello, Grace. Please, can you make presentation on behalf of Group 1?
Who and who are in Group 1 here?
Okay, sir.
All right, so let me try and access your slides. Please give me a moment. I would be drawing it up very soon. You said you made submissions this afternoon, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Give me a moment. I'll be coming up with it very soon. I've gained access to it. All right, so please you can introduce yourself, Grace. We'll be sharing your slides now.
Okay, sir. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Ajene Grace Ehide, group leader for Group 1, Week 4. And then the topic for today's presentation is healthcare contracts and transactions. So on the slide, we have the introduction, the healthcare provider contracts, negotiation strategies for healthcare providers. We also have payer contracts and payment models in payer provided contracts. And then we have the value-based contracting and healthcare vendor contracts. And then we have procurement contracts for medical equipment. We have contract management for best practices. And then there is the conclusion and then the reference. So we'll be starting with the introduction. What is healthcare contract and transactions? Healthcare contracts are fundamental in defining the relationships, responsibilities, and financial arrangements among healthcare providers, payers, and vendors. These agreements ensure transparency, efficiency, and compliance with legal regulations. In Nigeria, healthcare contracts must adhere to 1. The National Health Act of 2014. We have the National Health Insurance Scheme regulations. We have Public Procurement Act for vendors agreement. These presentations this PowerPoint presentation explores 3 major categories of healthcare contracts: provider contract, payer contract, and vendor contract, highlighting their impact and best practices in the Nigerian healthcare system. So we'll be starting with the healthcare provider contracts. What is healthcare provider contract? Healthcare provider contract defines the relationship between healthcare institutions, that is hospital, clinics, and individuals practitioners like doctors, nurses, and specialists. These agreements outline responsibilities, compensations, working conditions, and dispute resolution mechanism. So the next thing there is the different types of healthcare provider contracts. We have 1, the employment contract, we have the service agreement, and we have the managed care contract. The employment contract provides agreement where a healthcare institution hires a medical professional under set terms and conditions, like a healthcare service hires maybe a doctor or a nurse with different terms and conditions, maybe for payment and all of that. And then we have service agreements. These are contracts for independent consultants providing specialized healthcare services. And then we have managed care contracts. These are agreements with HMOs and managed care organizations that regulate cost-effective healthcare service delivery. And then we'll move to negotiation strategies for healthcare providers. We have different negotiation strategies for healthcare providers. Number one is that healthcare providers must negotiate contracts effectively to secure fair terms and ensure sustainable healthcare operations. Key strategies include 1, understanding key terms. Providers should have a deep understanding of payment models, service obligations, and legal clauses. 2 is balancing financial and operational interests. Negotiations should prioritize both profitability and patient care quality. 3 is legal risk mitigation, including clauses on dispute resolution, liability coverage, and compliance with health regulations. Case study here is like a scenario. A leading Lagos hospital renegotiated physician contract to include performance-based incentives, leading to improved service delivery. That's like a contract where the healthcare service, the hospital is saying that the workers there will be paid based on how effective they are in the organization. That's what the scenario is painting. And then we move to payer contract. Payer contracts define agreements between healthcare providers and insurance companies. These agreements outline reimbursement rates, that's their salary, service coverage, and compliance requirements. We have key elements of payer contracts. Number one is credentializing requirements, that's their credentials. Providers must meet specific qualifications to be eligible for insurance payment. Two, reimbursement models. This defines payment structures for services rendered. We have fraud prevention measures, ensuring transparency and compliance with the National Health Insurance Scheme guidelines. And then we move to payment models in payer-provider contracts. Healthcare contracts involve different payment structures that impact financial sustainability and service quality. Payment models include one, fee for service. Here, the providers are paid per service performed, encouraging high service volume but increasing cost. We have capitation. Here, fixed payment per patient per period, promoting preventive care but potentially restricting service delivery. We have the bundled payment. Single payments covering all services in a treatment episode, enhancing efficiency. The case study here is the National Health Insurance Scheme in Nigeria employs both capitation and fee-for-service models to maintain financial balance in healthcare reimbursement. And then we move to the seventh slide, which is value-based contracting. A payment model that rewards healthcare providers based on patient outcome rather than service volume. Advantages of value-based contracting include one, it encourages quality healthcare services. It reduces unnecessary medical procedures. It enhances patient satisfaction and overall system efficiency. And then we move to the challenges of value-based contracting. Number one is that it requires extensive data collection and performance monitoring. Number two is that defining measurable health outcomes can be complex. Example, National Health Insurance Scheme in Abuja introduced hospital performance-based incentive, improving care quality and efficiency. And then we move to healthcare vendor contracts. Vendor contracts govern agreement between healthcare institutions and external suppliers providing medical equipment, IT services, pharmaceuticals, and facility maintenance. Types of vendor contract. Number one includes one, fixed price contract, predetermined cost for goods or services, reducing financial risks. We have cost plus contract. Here, the vendors are reimbursed for actual cost plus a profit margin, ensuring flexibility. Key consideration, legal compliance with procurement laws and NAFDAC regulations. We have risk management clauses to ensure quality and timely delivery. And then the ninth slide contains procurement contracts for medical equipment. Procurement contracts are crucial in ensuring healthcare facilities receive quality medical supplies and technology solutions. Then we have the challenges in Nigeria. Number one is counterfeit medical supplies affecting patient safety. Two is currency fluctuations impacting procurement costs. Three is supply chain disruption leading to delayed medical equipment delivery. And then we move to the last topic here, contract management, best practices. One, proper contract management ensures compliance, quality assurance, and operational efficiency. Best practices. Examples of best practices or like scenarios include one, regular contract audit, ensuring compliance with agreed terms. Two, digital contract management systems, automating contract storage and renewal processes. Three, performance monitoring, assessing vendors and healthcare providers against contract benchmarks. And then we'll move to the conclusion, which is on the 11th slide. Healthcare contracts are vital for structuring relationships among providers, payers, and vendors. Key takeaway. Number one, Understanding contract types ensures better negotiation and implementation. 2. Payment models impact service quality and financial sustainability. 3. Effective contract management leads to compliance and improved healthcare outcomes. Future trends. Number 1, adoption of digital contract management tools. 2, expansion of value-based contracting to improve patient outcomes. So the references for this PowerPoint presentation include, but is not limited to, the following. Number 1 is the National Health Act of
No, you
2000.
don't have to read the references. Just leave it there.
Okay, sir.
Yes.
So
All right.
that's
All right.
Okay.
Thank you so much for your presentation.
Sean, I have a question for you people on this topic. I have a scenario question, but let group 2 present first. Then I'll ask my question and we'll have our discussion.
All right. Well, group 2, please, can we have your presentation? But before the group 2 presenter comes up to make presentation, please, I'll quickly want us to take our pictures. We're supposed to do that at the start of class, but it's skipped my mind again. So before the lighting becomes completely bad, I would like for us to take pictures. So please, if you can, kindly turn on your videos so that we can take a quick picture in class. Yes, for mentees, please,
Okay.
can you kindly turn
Apologies,
on
I am
your
in someone's
videos?
place where they wouldn't want me to reveal their background.
All right, no problem, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, Grace. Please, can we have more mentees turn on their videos?
Not, please, all the mentees, please turn on your videos. It's for your
Okay.
own record, it's for your own record. I don't know why this you people sets. The last set we had, once we finish class, everybody's on LinkedIn sharing their experience in class. I have not seen one from this particular set. Dennis, you didn't tell them?
So we do share the links we share a message for them to share their posts after class.
I have not seen any. Okay, maybe they don't usually tag me. Please tag me. Let me know your experiences.
All right, thank you very much. We're done. Okay, so please, group 2 presenter, come up and make your presentation. I will drop your slides so that you can. Okay, can we have the group 2 presenter?
Aliman. Video. Yeah, don't go to do. Be my name, man. Yeah, don't go to do.
Who is presenting for group 2? Dennis.
Sorry,
Hello, group
I
2.
was locked out. Yeah, please, can we have
Okay.
the group 2 presenter?
Okay, if you are in group 2 here, please raise your hand. If you are in group 2, Grace, kindly mute your mic. If you are in group 2, raise your hand. Use the reaction icon to raise your hand. If you are in group 2, raise your hand. Okay, Chiamaka, group 2. Who else is in group 2? Oluwada Milola, group 2. Who else is in group 2? If you are in group 2, raise your hand. I'm only seeing Oluwada Milola's hand. Chiamaka, I thought you raised your hand earlier. Okay. So who else is in group 2? Cora, group 2. Okay. Who else? Dennis, how many group 2 people are here? How many group 2?
I think we have 4 of them. 4 or 5 of them. 5 of them, sir. But
So why are they not raising their hands?
one of them indicated that she's not feeling too well, so I think maybe that's the reason why
I mean the
she's
people
not.
that are on the platform here. Just raise your hand first. If the person is here, I mean the people on the platform today. If you are in group 2, raise your hand. Okay, so we only have 3 here. Okay, 4. Okay. Chiamaka, I thought you raised your hand for group 2. Are you not in group 2? Chiamaka. Okay, so we have 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Tari, you have presented. Cora, you are new today, so you can't present, except if you are fit to present. Rukewe, you have not presented. Okay. Oluwadamilola, you have presented, right? No.
Yes, I have.
You were on the first this thing, the first or second class you presented. So, Rukewe, you are to deliver group 2 presentation. Tari has presented twice. Chiamaka presented in the other lecture. So, Rukewe, you are to present for group 2. At least you were here last week. So you may put your hands down. Rukewe is the group 2 presenter. So you have the floor.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I wasn't expecting to be presenting, but I'll be presenting for group 2, healthcare contracts and transactions. Okay. Okay, a brief introduction into what healthcare contracts and transaction is. Healthcare contracts are essentials for running hospitals, for clinics, and other medical facilities efficiently. These agreements outline the legal, financial, and operational relationship between healthcare providers, the patient, the insurers, and regulatory bodies. Well-structured contracts help prevent legal issues, improve service delivery, and ensures compliance with regulations. Next slide, please. We have types of healthcare contracts: the physician employment contract, the recruitment agreement, management service agreement, patient transfer agreement, technology licensing agreement, and a lot more. For the physician employment contracts, it defines the salary, the job responsibilities, and termination terms. For recruitment agreements, it ensures the compliance with hiring laws like the Stark Law. For management service agreement, it allows outsourcing of administrative functions, while for patient transfer agreement, it ensures legal compliance of patient transfer.
Please, can you
Technology.
control your background?
Okay, sir. Sorry, please. For the technology licensing agreement, sorry, I have to walk away from there. It governs medical software and equipment use. So these are few of the many types of healthcare regulatory. Okay, quickly. The legal and regulatory consideration. Healthcare contracts and transactions are governed by various laws that protect patients' rights, ensures data privacy, and regulate healthcare professionals and institutions. These regulations establish legal and ethical standards that all healthcare entities must comply with to maintain integrity and to prevent fraud, of course. So, what are the key health regulations in the United States? We have the HIPAA that ensures patient data privacy and security, Stark Law that restricts physicians' self-reference for Medicare and Medicaid services. We have anti-kickback statutes that prohibits financial incentives for patient referrals. Then for the healthcare regulations in Nigeria, we have NHA, it governs healthcare development and management, cyber crimes. Act 2015, it designates healthcare as critical infrastructure with penalties for cyber attack. Nigerian Data Protection Act, NDPA, it protects patients' data and mandates strict privacy measures. ICPC prevents bribery and corruption in healthcare transactions. CMEN, Code of Medical Ethics in Nigeria, regulates physicians' financial relationship. We have Public Procurement Act. It ensures transparency in public healthcare contracts. And of course, EFCC Act, it empowers investigation of financial crimes in healthcare. These are the healthcare regulations in Nigeria. Now, contractor obligations related to patients' privacy and data security in Nigeria. What are they? First, healthcare contracts in Nigeria must clearly define the roles and responsibilities of healthcare providers, like we have discussed before, insurance and the third-party vendors in handling, storing, and sharing patient data. These obligations are primarily governed by the Nigerian Data Protection Act 2023 and the National Health Act 2014, ensuring compliance with privacy and security standards. They are one, data protection measures comparable to HIPAA to safeguard patient data, healthcare organizations, and service providers must implement robust administrative, physical, and technical measures. And this contractual agreement must include the data encryption of and secure storage, which protects electronic health records for the patient. Access control policy restrict data access to authorized personnel. Data minimization, that is to limit data collection to only necessary information, and compliance with NHA to maintain patient confidentiality per section 26. Then we have business, still on the application, we have business associate agreements for third-party vendors. When third-party vendors handle electronic health records or provide IT solutions to health providers and insurers. Contract must include 1, data processing agreements, liability for data breaches, and audit and compliance requirements. Then the next one, breach notification and response protocol. In the event of a data breach, Nigeria law mandates specific reporting and response measures. What are they? Regulatory notification that report breaches to Nigeria Data Protection Commission within 72 hours, according to NDPA 2023 section 40. Patient notification, informed affected individual if harm. Then preventive measures should implement strong safeguards, legal liability provisions, clearly define the penalties and responsibilities. The fourth one, patient's rights and consent mechanism. That is, the contract must also outline patient's rights according to their personal health information, ensuring compliance with Nigeria data protection laws, and explicit consent requirements. Patients must authorize data collection and sharing. The patient must be aware of this. Before that, right to data access, patients can request and review their records, of course, and the right to data deletion. The patient can also request for their data to be removed, according to NDPA 2023. What is the impact of these healthcare policy changes on contract negotiations and transactions in Nigeria? Healthcare policies in Nigeria play a crucial role in shaping the contract negotiations and financial transactions among healthcare providers, insurers, and regulatory bodies. Policy changes introduce new compliance requirements, alter reimbursement models, and necessitate reconstructing of financial agreements to align with evolving regulations. What are they? Transition to universal health coverage and the national health insurance. Policy change. According to NHIA Act 2022, it mandates health insurance for all Nigeria to impact on contracts, which are renegotiation of the provider agreement, which is they have to adjust service pricing and reimbursement with NHIA, HMOs, and private insurance. Risk sharing management, shift to capitation payments, that's fixed per patient payment model. Then we have quality-based payment models, link provider payments to health outcomes rather than service volume. The second is shift towards value-based healthcare and alternative payment methods. Also, according to NHIA Act 2022, the policy change, it promotes outcome-based care instead of traditional fee-for-service. What is the impact on contract? The outcome-based contract, payments tied to patient outcomes and efficiency. The bundled payment agreement as fixed payment for managing specific health condition like maternal care, chronic diseases. The financial aspect of healthcare contracts and transaction. First, revenue cycle management in healthcare contracts. It tracks financial processes from patient registration to the final payment, ensuring profitability and minimizing billing errors. Key elements: patient registration and insurance verification, that is to ensure accurate billing, no overbilling. And coding and billing uses ICD or CPT codes for proper reimbursement, claim management, submit and track claims with payers, And payment posting and patient collection manages timely payments and follow-up. Impact on contract optimizes revenue, reduces reimbursement delay, and aligns with AMA and CMS guidelines for accurate billing. Another financial aspect is financial risk sharing in value-based contract, VBC. Incentive providers to improve care quality and reduce cost, shifting from fee for service to value-based care. The risk-sharing models are bundled payment, that's single payment for entire treatment episode, shared savings, provider share core savings if expenses are below benchmarks, then global payments and capitation, fixed per patient payment for all services. What's the financial impact? The provider assumes risk for exceeding cost limits, but benefits from cost savings. It encourages efficiency and preventive care to avoid unnecessary treatments. Then the challenges are that it requires strong data analytic and performance tracking to manage financial risk. In CMS programs like Medicare shared saving programs support risk sharing. Financial aspect is contractual terms affecting reimbursement rates and revenue optimization strategies. What are the reimbursement models? Fee for service, that is paid per service, may encourage overutilization. Capitation, fixed per patient payment, incentive cost efficiency. Discounted fees schedule, lower rates in exchange for higher patient volume. The revenue optimization strategies are the contract negotiation to secure better reimbursement rates with insurance, out of network reimbursement, higher rates but may reduce the patient volume, and then performance-based metrics, bonuses and penalties tied to quality care. The regulatory framework, affordable care, to promote structure, performance-based contracts, and then to regulate insurance contract according to these bodies. Ethical and moral dimension. Healthcare contracts detect patient care terms, access, and financial obligation. Ethical and moral dimensions arise when financial interest conflicts with patients' welfare. The ethical dilemmas in healthcare contracts are conflicts of interest, that is, other which we have exclusive agreements. Contracts with pharmaceutical companies may pressure doctors to prescribe specific drugs, limiting treatment options, and then managed care restrictions. HMOs and insurers prioritize cost saving over patient care, sometimes leading to treatment denial. The regulatory safeguards, according to these bodies, are to require doctors to disclose financial interest and also raise concern about cost-driven decisions in HMOs. Another dimension, patients' welfare and informed consent. One, transparent contracts. Financial agreement must not compromise care quality. Informed consent. Patients must understand treatment plan, cost, and insurance term, and ethical challenges. Many private hospitals lack transparency in billing, leading to unexpected financial burden. Regulatory protection, according to Patient Bill of Rights 2018, to ensure informed consent and transparency in treatment options. Another dimension is confidentiality of and data protection. Data sharing risk. Some contracts with third party firm exploit patients' data. Legal safeguards. According to this body, this will help protect against unauthorized data access, and then some challenge. Some HMOs monetize patient data without clear consent. Ethical contracting must ensure transparency and compliance with privacy laws. Equity and fairness in healthcare contract. Fair access to care. Narrow network, under which we have narrow network. Some insurance contracts limit providers' choices, affecting low-income patients, and also ethical pricing. High deductible or out-of-pocket costs can restrict care for underserved populations. Fairness in provider contracts. Restrictive clauses. Non-compete agreements limit doctors' ability to serve their communities. Workplace ethics. Unfair contracts lead to burnout, affecting patient care. Regulatory standard according to these bodies to ensure ethical employment terms. The next, resource allocation in please go back. I'm saying equity and fairness. Resource allocation in public-private partnership, profit versus patient. Some PPS prioritize revenue over equitable resource distribution. Accountability, basic health provision fund. Funds must benefit rural health centers, not administrative overhead. Ethical mandate, contracts must ensure fair allocation of healthcare resources. Third, the moral responsibility of healthcare organization in contractual relationships. Beyond legal obligations, healthcare organizations bear a moral duty to uphold ethical principles in their contractual interactions. These responsibilities have not limited commitment to health, public health, and social responsibility.
We will give you 5 minutes. I know your material is rich. I've gone through it. But if you want to present all the slides, you will take another 1 hour to present all the slides. So,
okay,
or another 45 minutes, but certainly more than 30 minutes. So, you have 5 minutes to round up. We have gotten the meat of your work. Group 2's work is very rich. Dennis, you send me Group 1's work. I don't have it.
All right, so I will send it to you.
Just forward it to me now, so that while I'm doing my analysis, I can look at what they put up. Okay,
right,
continue,
please go ahead.
Okay, thank you, sir. Moral responsibilities, we have the commitment to public health and social responsibilities, which include fair prices, ethical corporate responsibilities, and then regulatory perspective. The moral imperative of this is that contracts should align with public health goals, not just for profit. The next slide, please. Another is honesty and transparency in contracting. The healthcare entities must disclose all the contracts clearly and avoiding hidden fees and misleading clauses. We have ethical procurement practices, and according to this regulatory body, for regulatory safeguard, it should be fair contractor practices through enforcement, because it requires fair one for the enforcement for the So for the regulatory bodies, it requires fair contractor practice, because the enforcement of these bodies, they are very weak, they are not practiced. For moral imperative, we need stronger ethical commitment, because it's needed for fair healthcare contracting. I'm trying to be fast, it's taking me stammer, please. The next one is addressing power imbalancing. Addressing power imbalances. fair negotiation practice, equitable contract terms. Contracts should include fair dispute resolution mechanism rather than restrictive arbitration clauses that limit legal recourse. The ethical contracting mandate, negotiating in good faith, ensures healthcare professionals and patients are not disadvantaged by imbalanced agreements. The next slide, please. The emerging trend and innovation of healthcare contracts and transactions. These are the trends: digitalization and smart contracts, where we have blockchain-based contracts, smart contracts, electronic contract management systems. These healthcare contracts are we are evolving into AI. Okay, quickly. Number two, we have value-based and outcome-based contracting, where we have transition from fee for service to value-based service. The value should come before the fee. Then bundled payment agreement. Another one is AI and data analytics for contract optimization. Also, we have interoperability and health information exchange, HIE. Next slide, please. We have telemedicine and remote care agreement, under which we have growth in visual care, revised payment method. Then we also have cybersecurity. I'm still talking on the trends, please. Cybersecurity and data privacy in contracts. So we should implement stronger compliance measures, cyber risk clauses. The next is public-private partnership in healthcare infrastructure. So we have the government-private sector collaboration and encouragement of foreign investments to strengthen the Nigerian healthcare system. Please. We have personalized healthcare and precision medicine contracts, under which we have growth in genomics and AI diagnostics. We have tailored drug therapies, real-time claim. Number 9, real-time claim processing and automated billing contracts. We have the AI-powered billing system, the real-time adjudication. Then we have regulatory compliance and anti-fraud measures, under which we have stricter anti-corruption laws and audit clauses in contracts. International cross-border health. We are talking about the international perspective of health care contracts and transactions. Cross-border health care contracts and transactions. You have the international healthcare agreement, and it must be carefully addressed under these critical factors. I'll just list them. Jurisdiction and applicable law, dispute resolution mechanism, regulatory compliance. Comparative analysis of healthcare contract structure across countries. We have different healthcare system and legal structures shape the nature of healthcare contracts worldwide, of course. What are the healthcare system models? The single payer system in the UK and Canada. We have the multi-payer system in Germany, in France, hybrid models in the US and Netherlands. And payment and reimbursement framework. FFS, fee for service. We have value-based care, legal and ethical standards. This one works for Nigeria. Legal and cultural challenges in international healthcare agreements. The international agreement must navigate legal complexities and cultural differences. We have cultural sensitivity, language barriers, ethical considerations. Please just go on. Dispute resolution and litigation in healthcare. What are they? The common causes of disputes in healthcare contract. Please just go to my conclusion. Okay, in conclusion, healthcare contracts and transactions play a crucial role in ensuring smooth operations, legal compliance, and quality patient care within the healthcare industry. With advancement in technology, contracts now encompass areas such as electronic health records, telemedicine, and data security, making it essential for agreements to be clear, secure, and adaptable. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The two groups have done well. The depth of the research, in fact, group 2 went over and beyond the topic, even though they are all interconnected, but they went deeper. Even though everything they said is interconnected, but they could have done away with some of them. However, it enriches our knowledge. I said I have a question for us before I start my own comments. Somebody, okay, that should be 2021. Yes. 2021 or 2022. A lady died in Lagos. Okay. 2023. A lady went for plastic surgery. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can
Hello?
hear you,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Yes, sir.
A lady went for plastic surgery, and a doctor in Lagos put herself out as a plastic surgeon and now did the surgery, and the surgery went bad, and the lady died. The doctor was convicted, and later she died. No, was she convicted? No, she wasn't. She wasn't taken up. But I think last year she herself died. So my question is this: before we are talking healthcare contracts. Group 1 talked about different types of healthcare contracts, and they specifically mentioned what's it called? Where am I forgetting now? God. Employment or healthcare provision contracts. Trying to get the way they put it. Excuse me. Where is this their material? Okay. Just give me a moment. Let me get what I'm looking for. Yes, healthcare provider contracts. Now, the lady went for plastic surgery. If a doctor is undertaking to do plastic surgery, or first, let me put it this way. If the lady sued, assuming she didn't die, the surgery went bad, and she went to court, what do you think the court will decide? What do you think the court will hold? This question is directed primarily or firstly to the two lawyers on the platform. A lady had a contract with a doctor for plastic surgery. How many of you are aware that this man, Zig Saloma, you know him, the comedian? Would I call him a comedian? The content creator. Hello?
Yes, sir. Hello, sir. Yes, sir, we know him, sir.
I am not getting your responses. What is it? Can anybody
Sir, we
hear
can
me?
hear you. Sir, we
But
can
I'm not
hear you.
getting your feedback. Mr. Zik Saloma went to Turkey. Is it Turkey? Yes. For plastic surgery. He went to reduce his nose or make it more pointed. We are talking about contracts, healthcare contracts. Now, there are different aspects. I want to deal with healthcare provider contracts. Now, he has gone to Turkey to make his nose more pointed. Assuming the contract failed, assuming the plastic surgeon failed to do what he has undertaken that he is going to do, what remedy do you think? Firstly, does he have a remedy in court? Can he sue the hospital? If he sues the hospital, what will he be suing for? And what remedy can the court grant him? So I'm going to ask Fina. Fina, what remedy do you think he can get from courts? If at all he has any remedy.
Sir, please, I'm on the road. I'm on the road.
Hello?
I'm much here. I'm actually on the road. I'm trying to get back home.
Okay. Okay, but we can hear you. Okay, there's no problem. Where is Tari? Tari has gone out. Okay, Tari has gone out. Okay. Any other person? I wanted to start with the lawyers because we are dealing with contracts, not medicine. Now, healthcare contract is very crucial in healthcare practice. Group 1 has itemized the different types of contracts, from employment to service. There are many, numerous: equipment management, procurement. There are many. Now, these contracts are what keeps the healthcare business
Sir,
running.
we have, sorry, sir, sorry to intervene, but we have somebody raising their hand.
Okay. Yes, please. Who is the person? Yes. Oluwadamilola.
Oh, all right. So, in regards to the question you asked earlier regarding you asked three questions actually regarding the deceased patient and the deceased doctor. Generally, when a person passes, you can't bring an action against them. That's in regards to the doctor who died after the patient. Then the second question about the doctor whose expectation was not met, but if they could bring an action.
Expectation was not met.
Yes, the patient whose expectation was not met. Now, if they have a healthcare contract, it is subject to the terms of the contract. But even as at that, you should be able to bring an action in court, subject to the circumstances.
What will you be suing for?
Well, people usually come through the line of medical negligence. Or yes, that's the broad term. However, if they have a healthcare contract, they can sue for something more specific in terms of breach, in terms of in terms of the damage they suffered. They can sue on grounds of, since it's cosmetics, they can sue on grounds of bodily harm, disfigurement, their personnel having been altered beyond what should have been reasonably.
You are the veterinarian, right?
Pardon me, I don't understand.
I said, are you the veterinarian? Are you the person who did veterinary medicine?
No, I did not study veterinary medicine.
What did you study?
I have background in legal law.
Okay. Okay, you are the person waiting to go to law school?
No, I am not.
Are you practicing?
We are waiting the ceremony, the call to bar ceremony, and the release of the bar final result.
Okay, good. Okay, good. So, continue your submission.
Right. So, subject to the terms of the contract, you should be able to explore those lines of action, give or take.
Okay.
And then, because one key part of medicine is, unlike other contracts where you can just up and go, the medical procedure and the medical terms, the medical, procedure that was followed and the healthcare provided can be measured against international standards. It can be measured in line with our expert opinion and evidence to show that, yes, this patient had this issue, but perhaps this was not the best line of action. This was not what is medically recommended or medically
The global
advised.
best practice or standard.
Yes, international best practice or standard, more or less. So, subject to
Okay.
that, you should be able to make a case.
Okay, good. I like your submission. I like your submission. Now, why I paint out a distinction. Healthcare contracts. Have it at the back of your mind. Firstly, that we are talking about contracts. So what applies here is law. Last week, we discussed patients' rights and we discussed sources of patients' rights. And we say that one of the sources is adjectival law, primarily contracts and law of thoughts. If you remember last week's class. So you see how these things are interlinked. So for contracts, if you are suing under law of contracts. Now, let me emphasize, when you are treating in medical practice, you are not supposed to give guarantees. You are not supposed to give guarantees to say, I am going to do this exactly like this. If you are undertaking surgery, you cannot give guarantee to say, when I'm done with this procedure, your heart not know your work. That does not mean that you are not an expert, because the human body is complicated. You can finish doing all that is supposed to be done and the patient still dies. But when it comes to plastic surgery, you are giving guarantees. That's why I chose this example. It comes to plastic surgery. If a patient comes to you, or even a client at this time comes to you and say that he wants you to move his nose to his forehead, and you agree that you are going to do it, you must do specifically what you said you are going to do. So I needed us to get that first before we talk about elements of contract, because those are the things the court will consider when interpreting. Now, if you said you will be able to carry his nose from where it is to his left ear, you should be able to do it. Failure to do it, remedies available, specific performance, specific. That thing you said you will do, you must do it. Failure to do it, another remedy available is damages, monetary damages, to compensate him to as much as possible to the level he would have been if you did not do the wrong you did by mismanaging the plastic surgery. Unfortunately, no amount of money can compensate for that. So when it is plastic surgery, I needed to make this emphasis. a doctor, a plastic surgeon, once you are undertaking surgery, plastic surgery, there is an implied term of warranty that this is what I'm going to do and this is what I will achieve. Now, back to contract mainly. There are basically 5 elements of contracts. One is offer. Before we talk about healthcare contract, let's talk about contract generally. One is offer. That somebody is making you an offer. Offer is the call, the invitation to come and take up a position. Now, the offer can be made both ways. The hospital can advertise. So say we are calling qualified doctors to apply to our hospital. That is an offer. The healthcare professionals can apply to the hospital. That is an offer by the doctor applying. Assuming the hospital didn't advertise to call for application, then the doctor feels, okay, let me try. And he applies to the hospital. That is an offer. Now, when the hospital, after offer, we now have acceptance. If the hospital accepts the doctor, if the hospital employs the doctor, that means the hospital has accepted the offer. On the other hand, if the hospital advertises making the offer and doctors apply, meeting their condition, that means the doctor has accepted the offer. So it could go both ways. After offer, acceptance, then we have intention to create legal relationship. When we were entering this, before even intention, consideration. How much are you paying me? How much is my salary? What are my entitlements? What are my benefits? What is my annual leave consideration? What is my package general totally? Am I entitled to a car? Am I entitled to a house? Am I entitled to maybe insurance, health insurance? All these whole entitlements are part of consideration. Consideration must not be money only. In fact, it's not monetary only. The court has ruled that any benefits that are used to the party, or even any loss or any forfeiture suffered, can be interpreted as consideration. Then we talk about intention to create legal relationship. When we were signing this agreement, did we intend it to bind us? Did we intend it to have legal effects? Or we were just signing it for fun? So, element 1, offer, acceptance, consideration, intention to create legal relationship. Then we now talk about the 5th one, capacity to contract. Now, anybody entering a contract, the healthcare organization that is entering a contract, does it have the capacity to enter into such contract? Is it a registered entity? The hospital is not the CMD. The hospital is not the doctor. The hospital is not the nurse. Under the law, the hospital is an entity, a legal entity. If it is duly registered with the Corporate Affairs Commission, firstly, and has undergone other regulatory certifications or regulatory approvals to operate. So, but if you are suing a hospital, the hospital is suing, it must sue in its registered name first. And when you are suing the hospital, because we are talking contracts now, you need to know you are not suing the name, you are not suing the hospital itself. Firstly, you are suing the board of directors of the hospital. The board, the governing board of the hospital. That's what you're suing. Then you can now include the CMD, the individual parties. So if we have gotten this first leg, then we now look at the different types of healthcare contracts. If we are talking about maybe procurement, vendors contracts, supplier, you have different contracts with, hospitals use consumables a lot. If you are talking vendors contracts, somebody might be in charge of supplying all the, may not be all, let's look at the pharmaceuticals, the drugs they are using. If the hospital has its own pharmacy, somebody has the contract of supplying that. Another person might have the contract of supplying them with their general consumables. Another person has a contract of supplying them diesel. Another person has a contract of supplying them their medical equipment. Then another company has the contract of maintaining the equipment. Now, these are different levels of contracts. Apart from their employment contracts. For their employment, they have a different contract for their regular doctors, their regular nurses. They have a different contract for management cadre. They have a different contract for consultants. And you should know that every contract has express term and implied terms. The express terms are those terms that are written in black and white that you're seeing. The implied terms are not written down. They come by implication. That's why they are called implied terms. Now, all these will be considered by the court in interpreting any of the contracts. Then, if you're talking employment contracts for healthcare professionals, you also bear in mind that the Labor Act will come into play. To some extent, no, that particular, I wanted to say Workman Compensation Act, no, it doesn't. So, some parts of our employment laws, labor law, we have to come into play. So you bear that in mind. If you are talking vendors, you know that part of our Public Procurement Act will come into play. So you see how intricate these healthcare contracts are. However, you as a practitioner, for the lawyers, your primary responsibility is to protect the interest of your clients. If you are working for the hospital as an external solicitor or in-house lawyer, as you're reading the contract, you wear the lens of protecting your client, bearing fairness in mind though. You as the healthcare professional, if you are also engaged by a healthcare professional, as you are reading the contract or as you are even drafting, you are also wearing the lens of the interest of your client in mind, which is this time around the healthcare professional. Where there are breaches, parties can go to court to seek enforcement of the contracts. Some, it could be specific performance. Some, it could be quantum merit. Pay me to the extent that I have worked. Pay me to the extent that I have delivered service. Pay me something that is commensurate to the quantity of goods I have delivered. Then, if, as I mentioned, it could be specific performance, it could be quantum merit, you can seek damages. These are remedies available. Then we look at frustration. Nobody mentioned frustration of contracts because it is healthcare contract does not mean it cannot be frustrated. Now, understand that healthcare is essential service. That is why even in war times, hospitals are not attacked by the rule. Healthcare professionals are not attacked by the engagements of war. Unfortunately, some people do not obey that rule. Now, let's use COVID for example. When there was lockdown, a lot of factors can frustrate a contract. Even healthcare contracts can be frustrated. But what also are remedies and defenses available? I know this is not a law of contract class, but I needed to touch all these areas before we zero in a little more on healthcare and the tinier details of the contracts. Let's take, for example, employment, because I keep mentioning employment because healthcare provision, because that deals more directly with what we are, it relates more directly with the patients. The other one, management can decide if they are, you can see that these things somehow are still interconnected. I told us, was it in this session about a woman who had kidney challenge and went to a particular hospital. When they cannulate, she loses so much blood because they didn't have an adhesive plaster. They didn't have a firm plaster to arrest blood. Before they start cannulation, when she goes for dialysis, they will tell her son to go to H-Medis and buy a more quality plaster. Before the boy will come back, he will meet his mother in the pool of her blood. Mama says she's not doing again. Then they now went to another hospital, a tertiary facility, and the second hospital say their generator is down. So that cannot power their dialysis. Assuming now that that generator could not be fixed because the people that have the contract to maintain the generator failed. You have seen the direct impact on patients. Assuming somebody who is supposed to supply particular consumables did not supply. Have you seen a situation whereby patients come to hospital and the doctors write what the consumables, they can write everything, say you go and buy and bring. Before now, once you go to hospital, they have everything down. They treat you. But with time, we started witnessing situations whereby you go to hospital, they will say, go and buy this, go and buy this, go and buy this, buy all this, then bring it, then we will use it. Now, where there is an issue, that's why I like Group B's work, Group 2, they went to as far as alternative dispute resolution mechanism, because litigation is not only the way, or it's not the only way out. Now, in framing your contract, you also consider termination of contracts. You also consider dispute resolution mechanisms. Assuming this thing goes bad, what is our mode of resolving the issue? Personally, when I draft, I put ADR first. I put mediation first. Then I put arbitration inside. Before either mediation or arbitration, before, when either or both fails, then you resort to litigation. So for you medical practitioners, I would suggest to you, because soon you will graduate and you will get good employment, don't be so much in a hurry or in too much excitement to quickly sign. Find a lawyer and give that document to interpret, because there are some clauses. For you, it is English language, but for us, it is law. And it is when it comes to interpretation of the law that you will understand how much English language you do not know, because the law will ascribe its own meaning to certain words. It doesn't mean they no longer have the dictionary meaning, but in some cases, the law can give them restricted interpretation or elaborated interpretation according to law, not according to Oxford Dictionary. So it is important, if you are here and you are working in a healthcare environment and they do not have a legal department or an in-house lawyer or an external solicitor, do well to advise them to get one, because these things, at their face value, they look simple, but in practice, they are actually big issues. So let me dwell a little more on Group 2's work, particularly the areas she did not touch. Then we'll call it a day. Dispute resolution and litigation. Now, once you sign any agreement, ensure that you have a copy of that agreement. No matter what, ensure that you have a copy of that agreement, because the day dispute will arise, it is your own copy of the agreement that you will have to rely on. Why did I say it's your own copy? If you don't have your own copy and the other party alters his own copy, that is the available copy, and it is the content of that available copy that the courts will rely on. So, contractual disputes, the breach of contracts, hospital fail to provide agreed services, healthcare provider violates employment or service terms, insurer refuses reimbursement or reimbursement deposits or contractual obligation. Okay, 2023, I had a case, a HMO, a lady, her organization provided health insurance for them. She now has a surgery to undergo. From her premium, the package is on, that surgery was well covered. Then the HMO says the surgery was not covered. We're talking about healthcare contracts. So when she was sent to me, I said, okay, give me your agreement, give me the forms, give me their own, what they came to pitch for your company. We saw that that surgery was well accommodated within her level or the package she was under. Then I wrote to the HMO. Before writing to them, this woman was already at a verge of a deadline because the surgery she wanted to do, no hospital in Abuja could do it. They had to fly her to Lagos. When I came in, initially the health HMO said they are not doing anything. When I came in, wrote them, we scheduled a meeting. Firstly, I called and now wrote itemizing what their own parts stated and that this woman's care was covered. At the end of the day, we got the HMO to pay for her flight tickets from Abuja to Lagos, got them to pay for her accommodation, 3-4 days accommodation in hotel. Why? Because we wanted to mitigate taking up legal action. So we had to find a middle ground, made concession. Okay, you are going to do this, you are going to do this, you are going to do this. Initially, those things were not, we are talking about alternative dispute resolution. And we said, provider, insurer refuses to reimburse. That's why I remembered this case. Now, ambiguous language and misinterpretation. I told you people here that you ensure you engage a lawyer, because if I am drafting a contract, I will draft in such a way that it will favor my clients, even though I have fairness in mind. But I will protect the interest of my clients. If Mr. A is my client today, that's how that contract will be drafted. If tomorrow I am drafting for Mr. B, I will protect the interest of Mr. B. And how do you do that? Through clauses, through terms you introduce into the contracts. For the non-lawyer, the person may not understand. If you just read it, it's English. The person is even excited because he has gotten a job after 2 years of waiting, even though I know medical doctors particularly don't wait that long. Misrepresentation, fraud. Now, misrepresentation is where you are promising what you know you cannot deliver. In fact, what you know you cannot deliver is outright fraud. Misrepresentation is where you are painting a different picture from what is on ground to entice the person to agree with you. Once you do that, it can actually vitiate the contract. It can vitiate the contract. Now, how do hospitals make misrepresentation? They exaggerate their capacity. They exaggerate what they can deliver on. They exaggerate the equipment they have. They just create this, you just come, then you get there, you do not see those things. Unfortunately, Nigerians have not started taking action around healthcare contracts, except, of course, companies that are engaged. But as patients, their actions are mostly on medical negligence and rights violation. So there are just very few cases where you say, okay, this case is brought under contract and not medical negligence. What are the dispute alternative resolution dispute mechanisms? Mediation is there. If you remember last week when we talked about mechanisms, redress mechanisms, we said administrative redress, complaining firstly to the management. But now this one is contract. What do you do here? If you approach the management and lay your complaint in written form, expressing your frustration, and they want to come to terms, appoint somebody who is standing, iron the matter out. Mediation is there, arbitration is there. But this mechanism can only be resorted to if it is already embedded in your agreement as a mode of dispute resolution. In the absence of that, you can go for litigation. And like we said, when you get to court, you can claim for specific performance. You can claim damages. If you supply, you can claim quantum merit. Let them pay you according to what you have done so far. So, any question, please? Questions? We have overshot our time very well today, and I wanted to avoid this.
All right, please, do we have questions? We've treated quite a lot today in class. Mr. Ebenezer has covered so much as relates to both e-health, the challenges, and also contracts. So please, we want to ask, are there questions in class? I want to encourage all of us in class to ask questions. Questions are very important. They are a key part of our interactions. So please, do we have questions?
Questions?
I have a question.
Okay, please ask.
Okay, so there was something you said earlier when we started. You said,
Hey, Chineke.
I think
I
it
am
was,
straining my ear to hear you.
I'm sorry, can you hear me better now?
Yes.
Okay, it was relating to plastic surgery. You said if a patient comes in and requires that the doctor would move his nose to his ear, and the doctor says that they can do it, the problem comes when they don't deliver. Abi?
Yes.
So what if in a situation whereby the doctor delivers, but then there are other complications that can now cause something fatal? Does the doctor, is there like a
If the
problem?
doctor delivers on the surgery and other
Mhm.
complications arise, are they directly linked to the plastic surgery?
Yes,
Now,
let's say that linked because he removed the nose, obviously. Let's say that it was like as a result of the type of surgery he decided to do.
now, as a plastic surgery is a delicate area of practice. One. So we talked about patients' rights to information, and we said what information is the patient entitled to. One is the nature of ailments. Two is the likely side effects, possible side effects. So if the doctor failed to communicate that complication as a likely side effect, the patient can sue the doctor. But where the doctor clearly communicated it and the patient understood it, and the doctor shows that, yes, this was communicated, the doctor might be exculpated.
Might. So it's not actually a certain something.
Yes, when I say might be exculpated, because there are other factors to be considered. That's why we talked about documentation. Now, I mentioned that plastic surgery is different from your regular internal medicine and ailment treatment. Plastic surgery can be for aesthetics. Have you seen some of those crazy American? Have you seen those people who just plant horn inside on their head? The
Yes,
person
sir.
says he wants to now look like a monkey. For him, he's not ill per se. He's not sick physically, bodily wise. But he says for fashion purpose, for aesthetic purpose, for whatever reason, he now wants to change how he looks. And he says he wants you to make him to look like a monkey. And you say, yes, you can do it. Do you get it? Now, we already have a picture of what we want to achieve. So if you fail, but where a complication comes in, there's a thin line here between negligence and contract. The two can go hand in hand. If he failed to do the plastic surgery well, you sue him under contract. If he did the plastic surgery well and some complications arose, and we talk about doing what you are supposed to do or failure to do what you are supposed to do last week. So if Medical and Dental Council now checks and they saw the doctor took all the steps he's supposed to take, the doctor even communicated this patient that will be the likely side effects, and that happens, the doctor will be exculpated. But where the doctor did not do certain things he's supposed to do, or did not communicate to the patient's nature of ailment, so now there's no ailment, but we have the nature of the outcome he wants, the likely side effects of that outcome. If he fails, the other one is the cost implication. And above all, his right to refuse. So if he fails to communicate that, the patient can now sue in negligence. Do you get it?
I understand.
Thank you. Any other question, please?
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Please, do we have any other questions? I think we can take one or two questions. So if you have a question, please kindly indicate, or if you're in a place where you cannot speak, send your questions to the chat box. We'll read it out. Okay, Cora, I can see you're raising your hand. Please unmute and ask your question.
Good evening. Sir, you said something when you were talking about dispute resolution in contracts. You mentioned at some point that mediation and arbitration is usually done if it's already written in the contract that is how dispute resolution is going to occur without litigation. And if it's not mentioned in the contract, then litigation can be done. That is, the person can sue in the court of law. So can it also be a situation whereby the two parties can come together, regardless of whether it was written in the contract, it was stated in the contract, they can still come together to agree on arbitration or mediation?
Okay, now let's get it correctly. When you are doing a contract, when you are preparing a contract document, you're saying that this is what is going to guide our relationship regarding this business or subject matter. So as much as possible, you reduce everything. Hello, sorry, please, I'm in a lecture. As much as possible, you reduce everything in writing in that document. You know why? The courts relies particularly documentary evidence. The document speaks for itself. The court will not go to fetch from outside what is before it. So if your contract says that in the event of dispute, parties shall first have regard to arbitration or mediation, failure of which an aggrieved party may resort to litigation. If it is not expressly provided for in the contract document, you cannot force the aggrieved party to now come for mediation. But if it is provided for and the aggrieved party fails to exhaust the dispute resolution mechanism before heading to court, the court can order him to go back and follow the agreed dispute resolution mechanism. Do you get the difference? Do you see why you need to have it?
Yes, sir.
Beautiful. So, firstly, when you are drafting, you need to put everything you want inside your own to protect your interest. Don't assume that the other party knows. Don't assume that the other party is your Christian brother or your Muslim sister. Don't assume. So, put everything. Anything you know that is supposed to protect your interest, raise it. Let them now object to it. When they object to it, you can now tell them, okay, sorry, I have a call coming in. Just give me a moment. Let me take this call. Hello. Good evening. Good evening. I'm fine, sir. Okay. Okay, sir. Please, sir, can I call you back in the next 5 to 10 minutes? I'm actually having a class. Or you can send me a message on WhatsApp, please. Okay, okay. It's okay, sir. So, sorry about that. So, you need to put everything down. If you are putting your concerns and they raise it to say, no, delete this, no, we don't want this, no, we don't want this, that should first of all either raise a concern to you, or if you feel it is not a deal breaker for you, you can proceed with the contracts. But for dispute resolution, firstly, put your mechanism you want. If you want arbitration, don't just say they will take you, first of all, resort to ADR. If you want arbitration, mention it. If you want mediation, mention it. But the two, that you have arbitration or mediation, does not foreclose you from litigation where you are not satisfied. That's why the courts are there. Parties cannot, by their agreement, oust the jurisdiction of courts. You cannot say in this matter, none of us will go to court. So let's just leave it like that. If any of the parties not still agree, he can approach the courts. So, but anything you want, put it down. Let it be in writing. Express terms. That's why we talk about express terms. Let it be expressly written. This is what will govern our dispute resolution. Thank you. Any other question? Let's have a last one.
Okay, we'll be taking one more question. Does anyone have one last question? Do we still have any question? Okay. So in the absence of any further question, we want to say a big thank you to Mr. Ebenezer for such an exciting time in class. We had 3 hours of lectures where we covered both e-health and emerging issues within e-health, and also we dealt with health contracts and transactions. So please kindly do well. I'm sure that this class has so much reward value. So kindly do well to revisit this class on YouTube, right? In case if there are places you may need to if you need to like re-get or just take part or just get to try to redigest in that sense what has been said throughout class, you can kindly visit our YouTube platform. And again, please do not forget to tag our mentor, right, in your social media posts when you are making posts about today's session. Make sure to do that. Share on your different social media platforms what you've learned and tag Mr. Ebenezer. With that, we've come to the end of today. Once again, a big thank you to Mr. Ebenezer for his shared time, knowledge, and experience in class with the numerous examples that he brought to make understanding the subject matter very well. Thank you so much, sir. We sincerely do appreciate. For everyone in class, please do not forget to fill in the attendance to show that you attended this particular session. Do not forget also that we'll still be working on presentations for the week. So when the tasks are sent in, please let's try as much as possible to get straight to it so that we can beat the deadline for submission, which
Please
happens
remember
to be
to
on
submit
Friday.
on Friday. You remember it is the
Yes.
mistake, the failure to submit on time that dragged us this long. I just said today we have to collapse the two classes, and I deliberately did not prepare my own slides. If I did, we would have had more time. So please submit on time. Then see you next week, Sunday. Thank you.
Yes. All right. Good night, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your evening.